Hello, everyone, and welcome to Balcony Banter. It's another Wednesday, and it's the first Wednesday of the month. It's October, and welcome everyone to this wonderful Balcony Banter time. We had so many already of you in the chat. Thank you for making it over again to my channel. Thank you very much. And yes, and you were very patient as well, because we had some crackly rose moments here before. All right, so we just wanted to make sure that we all sound perfectly. All right, so let's see, who do we have in the chat, because we can obviously not see you, but you can see us, and we got plenty of guests tonight. And now I'm just going to say hello to every one of you in the chat. So we have the first one was Pauline, aka Johnny Watson. Then it's Craig. We got Ray Duffy. We got Sarah Childs. We got Marie Alti. Ian Miller. He's not only in the chat, but also on screen. And we got Anne-Marie Elton. And we have Tina Rigby, Derek Walker, and another time we got Ian Miller, David Longden, and Julie Wade, and so on. And Living with MS in Tenerife is here as well, in the chat and live in color. Very good. And we got also Maria Iris and Ali Bennett. Hello, everyone, and thank you for making it over. So now you are obviously wondering, who is that there in the right-hand corner, in the up-hand right-hand corner? Yes, point. That one there. It's Kim DeCosta. Kim DeCosta, welcome on Balcony Banter. Welcome.
Thank you. This must have been one of the best welcomes ever.
Yeah, for all of you who are wondering who is Kim DeCosta, she put down already Slow & Co. Slow & Co. She is the founder of that company, and it's a connector. She is a connector of sustainable brands and companies, you can say. And I also called her, I gave her the designated name Networking Queen, because that's all what she's doing the whole day long. And we're going to be talking about that as well. So welcome, Kim, again. And maybe you can also tell us later on all about Slow & Co. Because out of Slow & Co., we had this wonderful little discussion yesterday. We were talking beforehand, and we have our topic that came about with Slow & Co. So the topic tonight is going to be, how slow is slow life really? And what is slow life? What is it? Well, I mean, what would you say, Tim and Chris, is slow life? I mean, you
a normal day, I think.
A normal day.
Slow life for us. A normal day for us, not like today.
Not like today.
Getting up, going for a walk, coming back, getting Chris up after she's been meditating.
Yeah.
Then slowly get ready, slowly have brunch, relax, read, watch it, call a few friends and family, make a wonderful dinner with a sunset and a bottle of wine.
That's perfect.
And go to bed and do the same again tomorrow.
Wow. Yeah. All right.
The bottle of wine is cancelled.
The bottle of wine's cancelled. I'm on the fruit.
The weekend.
Only the weekends is the wine. So it's going to be even slower, because I'll be going to bed a lot earlier if I don't have wine.
Yeah.
I just say, why should I stay up if I can't have a drink?
And you, Ian, how is your slow life looking?
My slow life is nice and slow. I don't run about like a headless chicken now.
Headless chicken.
These days are gone now. I have plenty of time to sit back and relax and enjoy life. Nice and slowly.
So I hear relax, taking it easy, taking it slow. That's what we mostly think when we hear the term slow, right? So Kim, what is your take on a slow life? And we're going to go also not only into slow life or slow living, but I mean, considering living is not only your personal life, but it's also your work life. We will also go into business, talking about business and slow business, what that is as well, because that's part of what you do. So what's your take on that?
I mean, it's kind of like, where do I start? But let's start with slow life. I think both Tim and Chris and Ian are like on the right path, because everything starts actually with like taking it slow and enjoy, not run around like a headless chicken, do the stuff you like to do and do not feel all overwhelmed and so on. But obviously I wouldn't be here if it for me didn't mean a lot more than just relax and enjoying life. That is part of it. But I think it's taking into account as well, at the same time, your own person, but everybody else into society, into on the planet, basically, like our whole planet. So what's the impact I have? And if I live a slow life, then I'll have a better, more positive impact on society. So the term itself actually comes from slow fashion, slow food. I'm not sure. I think slow food was first.
Okay.
Which is like the way they do things different.
I think it was calling slow food to be the antithesis to fast food. Fast food being low quality, low price, and very quickly delivered. I think slow foods, it was synonymous with high quality, freshly made, and totally expensive, and you can't afford it.
Well, the last one might not be all that. Who knows, maybe when it started out, because I think it was invented, let's say the term was coined in Italy. But it meant like going back to the roots as a person as well. Like, okay, you yourself go back to your own roots if you try to relax and enjoy, because it's kind of like what is important to me. And with slow food or with slow fashion, it's a bit the same. How is this made? Who made this? Is it with local produce? Are we supporting local economy instead of, and it's exactly what you say, slow fashion versus fast fashion. It's the same thing. So it's kind of like that anti against fast life and fast business. And
I would definitely agree with that, and it's good to take time for anything what we value. Basically, it takes time to grow and to grow that impact that we are trying to make. So in terms of food, yes, going back to the roots and maybe taking time out of those 24 hours a day to actually prepare food yourself, or look into what you're eating, and maybe compensate if I have maybe eaten something that is out of the norm, that is that I know is not that healthy, then I can compensate it with maybe sports, or doing some kind of physical activity to balance things out. So yeah, very good. So go ahead.
You mentioned a really interesting word, which is the balance one, like balance things out. Because I think part of slow life as well is not trying to be 100% perfect either in this like slow life and so on. It's kind of like, it's fine to once in a while let it go. Maybe eat something unhealthy, or maybe it's fine.
Yes, that creates that kind of balance, because I can imagine for somebody who has not maybe set up this slow life 100%, but is curious about it, to how to start living a more slower life and a slower lifestyle. So then it's helpful to start with little things, little challenges, step by step, and not overwhelm yourself with, or beat yourself up with, oh, now I didn't do that, or I really suck. That is not really helpful, and that is also against slow living, because obviously when talking about sustainability, the people pillar is also one of the most forgotten ones in sustainability, but it's very very important, and a very important one in that whole scheme. So yes, let me see in the chat. I would also like to know from all of you in the chat. Yes, what do you practice, maybe as a starter, to slow your life down, and that can be in your personal life, or that can be in your professional life at work. Even if you are working from home, how do you cope with work-life balance? We would like to know from you in the chat, and yes, get the conversation going. Kim, I would love to hear from you a little bit more about slow and cowboy, because there are so many different facets, and what this whole project, and not only project, company is about. You have so many things going on. Last year, you and I did a video and an interview in August in 2021, where we were talking about Canarias Eco, which is the first Canarian, or on the Canary sustainable marketplace. And now you got new things that came out in 2022. So we want to know from you, what's new?
Thank you. Well, I think the main thing that's new, because with the marketplace, we were already doing that. And then we did the networking events, like sustainable networking events for businesses. Well, to be fair, we spoke about that yesterday as well. I always keep on saying, yes, I work with businesses, but in the end, I work with the people behind the brand. So what I connect is people. And because of those two, I more and more got the request and found out that people are actually looking like, okay, we feel that you have created this little community where we think alike, where we have the same worries, the same philosophy and values. So that's when the idea arose to launch the Slow Business Club, hence Slow Business. And it's a community, virtual for now mainly, where that's exactly what we do. We come together, we have a channel where we can talk, we try and co-create. It's not a much, there's, I think, a lot of networking going on, as in, what can I sell you? Which is very much built into our society as well. Sell, buy.
Yeah.
And for me, the Slow Business Club was more, what can we learn from each other? How can we grow together? How can we collaborate? How can we co-create? How can we take things slower, but more like with certainty? How do we take a step back and see, okay, this is where we want to go with our business? And I think, funnily enough, that is having an impact on a lot of those business owners, like personal lives as well at times. So that would be the novelty, the club.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Good. There's this negative connotation with the word slow oftentimes, that it's not productive enough, and whereas quick is a quick solution, quick fix, and everything is fine and wonderful. but that's oftentimes maybe not the case, because we rush through life and don't really maybe get the point, or miss out on opportunities as well, and especially when talking about people, or the planet, or or profit even. So so that's exactly what helps when talking about slowing down. We might encounter wonderful conversations with people who we would have like rushed through and rushed past if we didn't take that time to do so. So yes, that Slow Business Club is I'm part of it since it launched. So it's wonderful, and it's growing, because obviously you have had already a second round of people who joined. There were, how many people were there from the start? 30, I think.
Yes, and now another 5 brands have joined already, and there's still a couple more to come. So it is indeed growing, which is really nice.
I have a question.
Yes.
Go on.
I've been a part of things like this in the past, and do you set up metrics to measure your successes, or do you have goals that you got to reach, or is it just to say, let's get together and see what happens? Does anything actually come out of it concrete that we can say that happens because of this think tank? Or do you have goals to be able to change something that you haven't done anything yet in the real world, but you're working towards making an impact in a certain area? How far along are you on that?
Funnily enough, even before the launch of the club, already things were being realized and happening in the real world. The challenge I think I myself have is, how do you measure? Because the impact I have is, like, money is easy to measure, as in, if those businesses did a business together and they sold this much and that was that. But since the club is a lot more as well about co-creating and having a several impact, we're still looking for ways how to measure that exactly. But I can tell that I think in that very little time, more than 25 collaborations have been created already within brands that have found each other within the community or within my community, because it's not everyone is a member of the club.
I can give you an example of what I mean.
Sure.
Let's assume that we want to make the eating of chicken sustainable. And we also want to think about the chicken. Yeah?
Yeah.
You may, I mean, I apologize for any vegans or vegetarians out there.
I'm vegan.
Let's just take a chicken as an example.
Putting
away the moral aspects of it, yeah? We are breeding like lots of chickens now to make it affordable for everybody. So not everybody used to be able to afford a chicken. So therefore we can go and get a chicken for $3.50 at Mercadona and cook it. And if you want a sustainable farming of, let's just use chickens again, then that chicken is going to be less accessible to people and more expensive, but it's going to be sustainable. So therefore, the most of the effort is going to be going to educating people not to eat the chicken, right? And success in coming together, businesses coming together, typically results in having more money, right?
Yeah.
Or better quality. And that's not what the world needs.
No.
The world needs to realize that there's going to be resource shortages, and capitalism relies on shortages. So there's going to be no problem with having shortages, because that means it's going to push the price up of the resource. So who owns the resource is going to be the thing. So we need to not educate the people to not to eat less chicken, if you like, but also the capitalists that they can no longer sustain the model they're using.
Yes.
And in a nice way. I don't mean to say, stop being greedy, because that never works. You've got to say, this is a better way of making money.
Well,
and that's the type of thing that I wouldn't mind getting involved in.
That's exactly what everything you just said was kind of like, yeah, that's exactly what we do. So I know there's a lot of networking communities that are very focused on selling consumerism. Let's make consumers buy more, let's make people buy more, and let's make more money. As in, what is my business goal? I want to grow so much in turnaround or in profit. That is not the main goal of the club. The main goal of the club is how do we co-create, how do we collaborate, not to make more money. We have to be sustainable in an economic way as well. I mean, the idea is not like, let's all go bankrupt, but how can we collaborate and co-create to make sure that we're okay? We don't need to be billionaires. We're okay, but that the planet and the resources and everything is also going to be okay. So there's a lot of environmental awareness work, I meant to say, a lot of sessions we do, webinars, networkings, to create awareness on different topics, whether it's food, fashion, construction, everything, energy, and so on and so on. And at the same time, like I said, for now, we measure not exactly as in how much money did you make out of that deal? No, what was the impact? So I can give a literal example, which he himself, who's part of the club, wrote a blog post about. There's a person in Las Palmas, de Gran Canaria, and he had this eco shop and a vacational home with 7 bedrooms. And he used to rent them out to groups, but he was always like, I want to do more for my neighborhood, for everything. We met on LinkedIn. Like Juliana said, I'm the networking queen. I reach out to everybody everywhere. If I see we have common interests, it's very easy for me to create those connections. So then he joined a networking event saying like, I don't really know what this sustainable networking is about, but I'm going to go and try it because it sounds interesting. Then he decided to sign up for the club. And now at the end of this month, he changed his house, his vacational home into, which was already quite like a slow business, but now he's changed it into the first zero waste co-living of the world. And he's met all of the collaborators and suppliers and people that can help him out through, a lot of them through my network and through the business club. And that is the kind of impact and that is the kind of goal my business wants to have. So yes, I want to say, okay, we want to grow into 100, 500 members at one point, because I know that way the impact's going to grow. The change is going to grow. And that's what we're all about. And not as in, let's just make sure we get business out of this.
Okay.
Yes.
I
hear.
How do you, sorry, just a follow-up question.
No. Yes.
And once you've got this thing going and it's growing and it becomes a movement, then there's always going to be somebody who's going to come in and, I'm not going to say undercut you, but offer similar things for cheaper prices and faster. And how do we educate people that that's not the way to go? Is there some sort of marketing? I don't want to use the word marketing, but information that people can go to and pick up? Are you producing any of that type of thing?
Well, through events, basically, because it's not that, I mean, I do give trainings and workshops and that sort of things, but I'm sitting on that much content that I'm still trying to wrap my head around, as in I need to get all of that out there somehow. Yeah. So that is one thing, because that's the idea, to put those, like I've done so many online events by now, because it's been 3 years of online events. The idea is to put out that content and put it on YouTube for people to watch and so on. But it is indeed, and it is marketing in the end. And to be fair, if somebody would come around and say, I'm going to do exactly the same thing, but I'm going to offer it at a cheaper price, there's a part of me, because there's one really important thing I want to change as well in the world. I'd be like, hey, good luck. all the best. And I'd probably reach out to that person and say, how can we collaborate? Because I really, really feel the future is in collaboration. And I'm not the person that sees competition. I'm kind of like, so anybody that would try and become a competitor, I wouldn't consider them that way. I'd be reaching out to them saying, good what you're doing.
Absolutely.
You may have hit on something there.
You are making a very good point there. We were saying, you were saying about intention, and the intention is a good one, and to educate people and to become more sustainable. So yes, collaborating, and even if it's with maybe a competitor, is in the end a greater impact as well.
I obviously didn't mean your competitors. I meant the non-sustainable businesses will end up becoming a competitor to the sustainable businesses, is what I meant.
Yes.
And so you have to, so you might want to get governments on board so they can legislate so that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Well,
but then you got communism.
I feel, I mean, I'm not confident, obviously, you're not sure at all, as in, let's, if we're going to be able to change absolutely everybody's mind. But before, you said something very interesting as well, which I totally agree, and that is the strategy we follow. There is no point in pointing fingers at anyone at any point, whether it's their personal lives, whether it's professional, I don't care. For me, it's kind of the people I work with, whether private people, whether anything, the people I'm surrounded with are people that have that mindset, as in, I'm just starting out in this entire thing. I have no clue whatsoever, but I really feel a true desire to change. And I've had the question, why do you accept that brand when they're not sustainable at all? And my reply is, yes, because we're here to show them how it's done. We open our arms, we share our knowledge, we accompany them in that process, because I've detected that they have a real desire to change. Then there's the ones that might not have it. They're obviously not going to want to work with me either, which is fine. Even then, I won't be the one going, you are doing a very bad job. I'm vegan, I just said that. I never go about going, oh my God, you have a dead animal on your plate. That's not going to convince anyone, anyone to change anything. People don't like to be pointed at like, this is wrong. Let's not do that. Let's try and do it differently.
And absolutely, Kim, and lifetime slimness is making a good point here as well. And I would say it's totally in, you attract, let your vibe attract your tribe. And he says, tribal life is slow. They don't have a lot of things going on. Well, I would say they're very efficient as well. And tribal life, I mean, yes, that's maybe way back or still going on. But we are creating so-called tribes as well, and attracting like-minded people like you yourself, Kim, with what you're doing in your work. And yes, absolutely, it's not serving shaming if somebody is just maybe starting out. How maybe it's always a good way to look back on ourselves. How did we start? We didn't have it all in place. I still don't, and that's fine. And there will be also enough people who are not doing this and that 100%, and that's fine too. But if we can at least acknowledge and become more aware of it, and also maybe just do little things in a certain way, in a certain better way, then it will make a difference, and it will encourage others and empower others to do and go down a similar road. Yeah.
It always reminds me of a quote, and I think we actually spoke about that in the last interview as well that we did last year. There's this zero waste chef. So she only cooks. She specialized in cooking zero waste. She doesn't create any waste, which I think is awesome. I mean, I'm not even there yet. I might be vegan and I might be very sustainable and slow and so on, but there's certain stuff that I'm not there yet. She once said, many years ago, I think already, like, we do not need a handful of people doing zero waste perfectly. We need billions doing it imperfectly. But that, to me, you can expand to anything that has to do with sustainability, whether it's the social pillar, the environmental one, the economical one. It's like, whether you reduce on your food, whether you don't buy that many clothes from a fast fashion chain, whether you start, like you said, small steps, like small habits, small things you can change. Like next time, okay, instead of a regular shampoo from the supermarket, let me try one of these solid things. How does this work for me? Like small steps. And yeah, we need billions doing it imperfectly. We don't need thousands doing it perfectly. That's not going to change anything.
No, exactly. And like last week, we were with that great topic, we had expectations. Doing little things in an imperfect way, but still doing the right certain things in an imperfect way, and that's good as well. And perfection, I think, to strive for that. It can get overwhelming. So just do your little thing that you can do, and do your best at it, and and that will help a lot. Just wanted to read out a comment here. It's Craig says, a slow life means being with your leisure time. It's not about packing your calendar out of obligation. It's about learning how to politely say no and being ruthlessly protective of your free time. Yeah, that's a good one too. How to politely say no to things. Yes, the easy things. It's easy to say yes to those things, to easy things, but to difficult things, yes, it's harder to say no. But then, how can you still politely say no to that? That's a good one. Thanks for that. It's Craig. Ian, you have been very quiet.
Yes, I'm just sitting here taking it all in. I have a different perspective. My thinking on how slow is slow life. Life in slow motion, it's about doing everything at the right speed. And it's about pacing yourself, not rushing about like a headless chicken that I said at the start. I would say it's also about gaining time for doing the things that it's most important to yourself. It would also be focusing on what you're doing in a mindful way.
Mm-hmm.
Taking your time to think things through. I mean, what's the point of rushing about? You end up making mistakes. Then it starts to affect you mentally. Then you get stressed. And eventually you have to stop and take stock of what you've been doing. That, in my mind, is slow living, slow time.
Yes.
That's what I read into the thing as being slow. I mean, what we all in life now run about, as I said, headless chickens. That's the easiest way to describe it. That's the way I describe it. But why do we do that? Is technology got something to? Is technology to blame for that? I mean, things in technology move so fast now. The speed of light, conversations, everything with technology. So we're all going fast. We all need to slow down, or else we'll all finish up being mentally sick one way. It doesn't have to be a large way, it could be a small way. It's affecting your life, it's affecting your body. That's my take on it. I mean, people are expected now to be connected 24/7, aren't they? Tim, do you work 24/7?
No.
So you have in your mind, you have a cut-off point. You say enough's enough. Surely.
Yes, obviously. I mean, I don't have the regular 9 to 5, let's say, because I'm a sole parent. So I have an 8-year-old son. And we spoke about that yesterday, Julian and I, like the work-life balance and how being a connector, you get, at times it is overwhelming because I get like message that from all over.
Yeah.
And it's like you say, technology nowadays, it's great. It's so advanced. We can reach a lot of people, but at the same time, at times it's kind of like, let's put the phone to a side. Let's not watch it for an entire day. And let's just disconnect because I want to be out in nature. I want to be with my son, whatever it is, but let's not, because it is overwhelming. I mean, I think that's very important. And slow down at the same time. When you were speaking, I wanted to add, we speak a lot about work-life balance and leisure versus work. In my case, it's a very thin line because I love so much what I do. It's something that resides in me, let's say it like that. It's a natural thing. I just connect all day long. I would even do it in my free time, so-called free time, because I love what I do. But then there's other things for me that are kind of like, let's disconnect from the phone. I might even still be thinking about connecting or whatever, but it's that slowing down when taking certain decisions. Am I going to connect? When I buy something, do I need to buy it? It's not just, for me, slowing down is not just, let's have a work-life balance and say every day at 6, I disconnect. I listen basically to my body and my mind and see, what do I need now? Now I need rest. I need to disconnect. I might even, I work from home and I don't have this 9 to 5 thing, but there's times that I feel I have no energy whatsoever, that I'm not being so-called productive. I just go and have a 30-minute nap in the middle of the day because I'm kind of like, this is what I need right now. And that is, even when you see even in a supermarket, people rushing through a supermarket, I go in and kind of enjoy and think and kind of like a mindful way of going about life, as in, okay, do I really need this? Do I want to buy this? Can I use it? And so on and so on. So it's a whole thing.
But you realize that is a privilege that is denied to many, right?
Yes.
I always said to people that you have to find something you're good at in this day and age. Do it to the best of your ability, and somewhere in the world, somebody will pay you to do it. But the most majority of people, they're rushing around because they're also single parents, but they're running 3 jobs they hate to pay the mortgage or to pay
I understand, sorry to interrupt. I understand that at the one hand, it's a privilege. But I also want to say that it takes a lot of courage to just go ahead, because my personal story is I'm a widow. I left my management job behind with a good wage and everything else because I felt I needed a change. So many people called me crazy, as in, what? You're a sole parent, you shouldn't be doing this, you have a mortgage, you have a child. And I just said, this is what I want, and I'm gonna go ahead with it. And I then created a business model out of what feels so natural to me. It requires a lot of courage, and it still does at every single day. So I do understand that there's loads of people that might not have that privilege, But at the same time, there's a lot of them that might have, but do not have the courage that it requires for that change. And I understand that. I'm the first one. I mean, fear is a very big driver to not take certain steps.
Yes,
Fear
you're making
a lot of
a
people
very
say,
good point there. It's mindset, and also what you said, courage, and the courage to sacrifice, to give up something that is of value to you, but to make space for something that is even more valuable to you.
Exactly.
Right. And I understand, because it has been very similar in my case, leaving a corporate job, a very safe place to be, but yet if you feel you're not really in the right place anymore after a certain period of time, it's good advice to ask yourself questions, and to really be mindful about what your inner dialogue is. Maybe what is your constant inner dialogue telling you about how balanced you actually are. And then see maybe what is more in line with you, and what would bring you that joy. And yes, what Tim, you are saying, find something that you're good at, and find a way of making it happen.
but there's the problem.
That takes a lot of courage, and overcoming terror barriers and fear barriers that we all have inside, that we all know full well, but then stepping over and crashing those fear barriers, that's something that
the fear barrier is a real thing, and I'm not taking anything away from anybody who goes for their dream and does it. But how do we change the world is a different kettle of fish. And changing the world means you have to enable people, reduce the fear, to enable them to follow their dreams. And you can't do that in the model that we have at the moment. The model we have at the moment is, if you don't work, you don't eat. Anything that you get for free is scrounging, and you're a lesser person for having to rely on benefits and stuff like that. And so what we need to do, we need to be able to say, I want to enable people to make the right choice in sustainable living. And that means a total change in society.
Yes.
But what is the tipping point? Unfortunately, I see the tipping point as bloody. I see it as a resource war of bloody proportions, and only then will people start to work. We had a tipping point a couple of years ago with COVID on home working, and I think that has enabled a lot of what we're doing right now to come about. So what is the tipping point for sustainability? I mean, Fridays for Future is a great thing, but then people took that and ran, we're green now, we're all green, right? And they're not green. They're playing at it. They're using it as a marketing ploy. And what we really need is to get real people involved. And you can only do that by giving them a sense of pride in the change, taking away the fear of the change, and taking away some of the things that make you fear. I don't have the answers, but maybe your think tank can think along those lines.
Well, we are actually. For me, it's I absolutely agree with what you say, and I even go further. Like, yes, we did have a tipping point, like for home working. Lots of companies realized, it's actually quite okay that my team works from home, and I give them more flexibility and so on and so on. We did miss another huge opportunity to kind of slow down and say, hey, sustainability wise, we can do a lot more. Speaking about the Canary Islands, for instance, we just went back to the old model when it came to tourism. So, but in general, I try to focus on the hopeful bit, and I try to be confident and have that conviction, as in we will be there before that comes, that bloody war where half of the planet is going down and people will start literally fighting for stuff. Because I do what I do, every single day I find out about more like-minded people, more like-minded communities, more amazing projects all over the world, not just here, like all over the world. And that gives me hope. So by now I've been surrounding myself, not just in the club, but besides that as well, with more and more people, even people that in other countries do very similar projects to mine. And I talk to them and we help each other out. It's kind of like, oh, there's an idea. How can we, like I said, grow together, co-create? And that is what gives me hope. Yes, there is a vast majority still that is not there. And I have to be honest, there's times that I walk around and think, oh my God, like I go to a supermarket, I go everywhere, I go to a shopping center, and what I see to me is kind of like, oh, if we keep on doing this and that same model, like this is not good. But then you see so many other things happening, so many awareness being created, so many, like here today, this same conversation. Juliana knows that, a lot of people know that. If I get invited, I'm always up for a chat, because I'm kind of like, let's talk, let's get the word out there, let's create, even though it's the slightest little bit of awareness, or I've had people tell me as well, like I said, because I do not point fingers and I try to answer questions in a not judging way. I think that's a really important one as well. Let's not judge anyone. Some people did come back and say, you just literally changed my mind on certain things. And now I find myself going to the supermarket thinking twice about what I buy. That has never happened. It's those tiny, it can be something completely different for other people. So there is lots to be done yet, and I'm totally and absolutely up for it.
Yes, absolutely. And you're making a very good point there, being and staying positive about it. Negativity is so much louder and screams so much louder and has so much more to say, because that's our ego, our, what I call inner pig dog, is present everywhere and has to comment on every single thing. But yes, positivity is something that needs to be cultivated. Yes. And it takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot of sacrifice. And the sheer fact that you guys here in the chat, we are still on 38 people watching us right now, yes, are here with us every single Wednesday, and not only here on Balcony Banter, but that's what I can say. That's just proof enough that yes, there is a community out there who is looking maybe to a different and better way. And Lifetime Slimness is making the comment, Kim, what you are saying is living mindfully. How many people do that? Yes, more and more. And it's slowly growing, slowly.
It's not an easy one. I know not a lot of people live mindfully. I mean, I wouldn't be able ever to put numbers on it, but it is indeed mindful living in itself at times even is hard. I mean, I consider myself quite aware, and still for me, sometimes I'm kind of like, oh my God, I just rushed through 2 days. What happened? So it happens. I just try and be there for as many people I can to create that awareness. And I very much am a big believer as well in, it doesn't always have to be me because I came up with the idea. It's kind of like, it's the enablement and the empowerment mainly, because I very much believe in the ripple effect.
Absolutely.
Like if you start with one person, they might speak to other people, and then slowly but surely, it might be a slow path. And to be fair, I don't even know unto where the impact of my community sometimes reaches. But hey, I'm happy with what I know.
Exactly. Anne-Marie Elton says, good point, Ian. We all need time to unwind, slow down and relax, but for some it is not that easy. When commitments are in the way, life, work, family, and other obligations. Yes, getting everything in place sometimes can get very challenging. And I think, we are all doing our best and doing our best every day. And the best looks different every day. And also it looks different for everybody, because when talking about mindfulness and being aware, we don't have everyone the same kind of awareness, but we can share a hand and to the ones who want to become more aware. And we are also looking to others who can help us on the way as well. So this is it's that constant lifelong learning, basically. So that's a good thing to constantly update our inner computer, our inner software, so to say. Yeah, and
I need some new firmware.
Oh my
You got so
God.
much software.
Software.
Listen, do you not think? I mean, I'm going to go back to people expected to be connected 24/7. Is it no changed a culture? I was been sitting thinking about a word for it. The word I've come up with is a hustle culture, we'll call it. People are working nowadays to the point of burnout, which are making themselves unhappy. They're making themselves ill. I'm going to go back to the mental health. Mental health can be a simple thing. We all live with it every day, and you don't think about it. It can be a serious thing. It can develop into a serious thing. So I think we have to slow down. We have to change. What I've come up with is a hustle culture. That's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
But
I
how
couldn't
we do
agree
it?
more.
No,
It's
how we do it, I don't know.
It's a very good point you're making there, Ian. And I've come across a term the other day. I was reading something, and it mentioned hurry slowly. So I mean that quite fits in our society quite well, because obviously we want to get things done, and we want to be as efficient as it can be, and we expect our technology to be the latest version, and to work as efficient as it can. And also that puts a lot of stress on us. But internally, we can always decide what we let in. So the outside, the surroundings, the external will always be fast. But then there is this knowing that we can stop and gather our thoughts. So we need to learn how to think properly. And what does thinking includes includes using our higher faculties, such as imagination, such as perception, such as reasoning, then also intuition. And those higher faculties are all part of our mind and our mindfulness. So it really is important to be more present and to come back to the present moment instead of rushing already having our thoughts, our mind on the future, and rushing and totally missing out the present moment.
There's an old English saying that you may have heard of, and you mentioned the new one you heard, yeah? The old English saying means the same thing, and it is more haste, less speed.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
And also you said efficiency, and we need to get away from efficiency. We need to go to effectiveness. If you're going to give somebody a job, give it to a lazy person, because they will find an easy and effective way to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is true. I totally agree. And I think I do understand where Ian wants to go, because it's sometimes like relating different stuff. No, am I privileged? Yes, and so on. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, it's so easy for people to get sucked into this hustle culture where you get pressured from all over the place, because food needs to be on the table. You need to have money to pay for everything. So to then be able to kind of wait, stop, slow down, think, that's a very hard one. I mean, it's very easy to get sucked in. So for me, I think you even had an episode maybe on that. One of the first steps for me, because I wasn't born sustainable at all.
No,
I'm Belgian.
We're all born sustainable.
We very lived in, well, born probably, yes, but grew up, no. So you get sucked into this type of life because that's what we're all used to. And one of the things one of the first steps for me was kind of like acceptance of the situation I'm right in now. And then the smallest change I could possibly make. Now, I might not be the best example because my changes normally are never small. I mean, I moved countries twice. I kind of go big with changes. And the other thing I wanted to add on is I've always felt that the best way to start opening people's minds, or to kind of find like, okay, in this hustle culture, in every pressure within the pressure I feel in my daily life, listen to them and talk to them from an understanding, as in, okay, this is where they're at now. This is the point in their lives, business, whatever they're in. So what can we start with from there? And it's not easy for a lot of people because of so many different factors. But as I keep on repeating, I'm hopeful that from an understanding, the smallest changes can happen, and then that will have a ripple effect. And at one point, they'll become bigger changes.
Absolutely. And it may not be in our lifetime. And that's that I think if we take that in consideration, that it might not be our intention, and the good things we put out and do might not be having that impact in our lifetime. But I think it's also sustainability is not only not only meeting the needs of for ourselves, but it's also thinking long term and about future generations. So even though we might not feel that throughout our lifetime, it might be having an impact on following generations. So there's always room for making creating a better purpose for what we want to be doing, and positivity and a positive mindset is definitely very helpful on that journey. Not only focusing on the outcome, and not only focusing just on the destination and hustle and rush to the destination, but yes, also stop and smell the flowers.
Enjoy the journey.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's it.
Why not? Can I say something about what you've just put on the screen there?
Oh, yes.
Alan's asking, what's the definition of hustling, Ian? Right. My definition, my interpretation of that would be pressure from your superiors and pressure from your customers. Your customers all coming in together. You've got to sit and sort that out. To me, that's hustle. You're being targeted from all directions. That's creating hustle in your mind. That's my take on it.
Pressure.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see. Zelda is also saying. They also say, if you want something done, give it to a busy person. Oh yeah, we were saying the lazy person. Yeah, that's right as well. And we have some great comments here too. And I'm just trying to get back to them. Let me just
I've missed
see.
quite a lot.
I saw before one that said like we should have mindfulness in the school curriculum. I couldn't be more
Maria
in
Albinos.
agreement.
Absolutely.
Like, yes, please.
Oh, in fact, with a lot of my little alumnos, with a lot of my little children I teach, I start out the lesson with 5 minutes of mindfulness training. So just sitting there and having them close their eyes and just being in the moment. And yes, it does not necessarily have to be like that, but at least just to acknowledge that moment, that it doesn't need to be rush or here and say and do. No, just in that moment nothing is happening, and then you can really see how they're like.
Well, we had that in the 60s.
After half a minute, they're opening their eye, and then is she still opening her eyes or not?
We had that in the 60s school. The mindfulness hour. It was called religious education.
Okay.
No, what happened was I was being mindful at school, and then all of a sudden the teacher would throw the chalk at me and say, "Dowd, pay attention." I said, "I'm so poor, I can't even pay attention."
Okay, let's
Well, I
see.
do have to say, my son at least, he has a class called Emocrea here in school, which they work on different emotions and so on, which I feel is a huge step forward already, because in my day, that definitely wasn't part of the curriculum, how to deal with your emotion and name your emotions and so on.
Education has got to totally change. Got to totally change.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Ken Robinson's just brought out a book posthumously about the future of education. I'll send you a link.
Okay.
His daughter finished it. He didn't finish it while he was alive. Sir Ken Robinson. If you don't know him, go to YouTube, just put in Sir Ken Robinson and have a look about what he has to say about education.
Okay, cool.
I like it because he did 2 TED Talks. The first one was about education, and then the second one was 8 years later, and he came on the stage and said, "As I was saying."
Awesome.
Maria Albonos says, sadly, effectiveness, getting results for school reports, it seems a priority.
Yes.
Yeah.
Change the system.
Yeah, exactly. And yes, what that's school and school children. But at the same time, when we're talking about work-life balance, it happens to adults as well. I mean, you can be very mindful, maybe practicing that in your personal life, and being more slow, or trying to implement that, and then in work life, it's a whole different story. How much can you take from your private personal life into that realm of your professional life, and the other way around? It might be that at work it's very slow, and we have a very good sharing community, and everyone is working together, collaborating. And then at home, you come back home and there is chaos. There's just too much hustle going on, and you don't find anybody listening to you, or you don't find time to rest. Anything can happen. So how to create that balance for oneself? That is, yes, something that needs to be more worked on in the future, I think, and creates a lot of possibilities, definitely. Let's see. Oops. Hi, guys.
I think work-life balance is totally changing. I mean, especially now with everybody working from, well, not everybody, but obviously there's some jobs that you can never do from home. But the home working has as well. It's kind of like you're in your house. So obviously your personal life blends in with your work life and so on. The work-life balance definition, I think, is going to change completely. Because it isn't that much of a separation anymore, as in I come home and I leave it behind, or the other way around. So
yeah, I think that is a whole different.
Automation is going to destroy a lot of jobs, and so we need to start thinking about what's going to happen after the automation revolution as well. And even things like bankers and insurance agents and financiers, that's all going to go away with AI. So even the high earners, in the golden mile, are going to be affected by this. So there's a lot coming. We probably won't see it in our lifetime, the total effects, but there are certain industries that have just disappeared, and we don't even notice them anymore, that they're not here. There's still record players and play records, but that's a niche business now, not the mass business it was. So there's lots of things that we don't even notice that are going away and being replaced by other things. But hey, time's up.
Yes, I would like to hear from Chris, because Chris hasn't said a thing, and she is so present and so mindful. And I think she is, one that is the most mindful one in this very,
brutally honest. Be brutally honest.
No, I just mean that was interesting, but I'm out of it. I can't do a job or anything.
But you do use smile tablets and bamboo toothbrushes.
Yeah, I do that,
yeah,
That's
see,
a little change, but
we don't use any plastic in the oral care anymore.
awesome.
That's amazing, isn't it?
And if you want to be a part of Smile, you just go to timothydowd.com and press the little button.
Literally, I'm gonna hire his voice.
Yes. There
You can
you
actually
go.
buy shares in the company
If I
now
want
for
to
€250.
if I want the Slow Business Club jingle, I know who to talk to.
Oh yeah. Come on, Tim.
If
say
you want a
it.
voice-over
You
for
too.
something, just let me know.
Yeah, no, I can tell. And I'm
say it.
serious. I'm like dead serious. I'm smiling, but I'm dead serious.
Tim, say it. You too.
You too can have an accent like mine for only $39.95 down and 3 easy payments of $9.95. Ring 1-800-NO-BRITS.
Oh, nice, my
Give it a
dear.
thumbs
Done.
up.
I
Guys,
just,
we're coming up the time.
Just keep going.
just think it's really important to concentrate on the moment.
Yes.
So when my granddaughter was here, just concentrated.
Yeah.
Well, it's so great because she's not a real person yet. So she doesn't know what's gonna happen, and she's always happy.
Yeah. That's the child spirit.
Our granddaughter.
Be and happy. Be happy in life. Yeah.
Love the correction. Our granddaughter.
She
Very
always pulls
good.
me up on that. You see.
All
She
right.
always pull me up on
So
that.
I'm
It's
going to
our
go
kid.
round and see if we have any last words to finish off, because we're already way over the hour. So Ian, would you like to start?
Hey, follow that, she says. Yes, very interesting. A lot of thought there. What I will say, actually, Julianne, thanks very much for the invitation for joining you tonight.
Thank you for
Thoroughly enjoyed
joining
it.
us.
And Kim, you're the sorry, Carrie. I was going to shake hands with you, but you're a bit far away. I would like to finish up something I mentioned earlier on, mental health. I'll just take a wee minute to tell you about a message from the Mental Health Foundation. It's for an event. It's fast approaching. It's World Mental Health Day, and it's on the 10th of October. If you remember, we did a UK day back in May, which was targeted on loneliness. This actually is a World Mental Health Day. The theme of 2022 World Mental Health Day is set by the World Federation for Mental Health. This year, the topic is Make Mental Health and Well-Being for All a Global Priority. For 70 odd years, we've been working to make sure that mental health is treated on a par with physical health. Mental health problems exist in our lives, in our families, in our workplaces, and our communities, impacting on everyone. We need to do as much as possible to prevent mental ill health as individuals and as a society. We will continue to call on national and local government to prioritise reducing the factors known to pose a risk to people's mental health, enhancing those known to protect it, and creating the conditions needed for people to thrive. World Mental Health Day is also a chance to talk about mental health in general, how we need to look after it, and how important it is to talk about things and get help if you are struggling. If you would like to support us and need more information, if you go to www.mentalhealthfoundation, WMHD22, look under the heading World Mental Health Day, and there is stacks of information there that you can look at and get ideas from. Thank you, folks, for listening.
Or else, very good. Or else come join us next Wednesday for Balcony Banter, I would say. That's also a good spot to be, to not be lonely, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Correct.
Tim and Chris, your last words.
My last word is I found something else which I do It was great. I bought 2 t-shirts, the first 2 t-shirts in a while, and I actually wear them. Lots of people just buy cheap t-shirts and after a while they just throw him out.
Yeah,
Very true.
yeah,
And I
absolutely.
don't have much clothes and I don't care.
But you always look very good, Chris.
Here,
Tim.
For me, the final word would be to pick up on what Ian was saying. Mental health is very important. It's been seen as a bind where they put people away in the past. My mum worked in the mental health, and her parents both worked in mental health back in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s, and it's come on a long way. And I feel now that it really needs to just be the causes of mental health need to be looked at, and not just helping people with problems. So I think there are a lot of causes that would destroy and get rid of a lot of the mental health problems that we're having today. And that needs to be looked at, not the care of people who we've already damaged.
Here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. And Kim, I'm so happy that you made it. That you took time out to be here with us, and really, really enjoyed having you on Balcony Banter. What are your last words?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, because I enjoyed this very, very much. It was a really nice, wonderful conversation. And at the same time, picking up on mental health as well, I think I agree with Tim a lot. And I want to add to that if we speak about sustainability and slow life and so on, I don't think I mentioned this before. If somebody is not okay, then that is the first step. Their mental health is priority number one, because I am fully aware of the fact that if you do not feel okay, even less you're going to do for society and the planet. I mean, your first concern is you. So mental health is such an important one. And it is true, a lot of it is consequence of the lifestyle we currently have. There are other issues as well, which are literally like neurodivergent types and so on and so on. So there's other stuff as well, but there's a lot of it being caused that we could prevent.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I would like to really, really thank each and every one, our dear viewers, that whole network, that you made it over again. Like every Wednesday, joining us here. Ian, that you came on and put your input. Tim and Chris, and of course Kim. And yes, mental health, we're trying our best, include you as our dear viewers as well, every Wednesday, to help along that way. And there are always ways to reach out and to ask for help. But I totally agree with what Kim says. Awareness and being aware that you're not okay, and acknowledging that that is the first step, and there are more steps to be taken, definitely. And it's a journey, but yes, we're here to enjoy that journey together. So wishing you all a wonderful, wonderful week ahead, and I see you all next Wednesday. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.